Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to be checking out a rank 3 6-star Ronin. A friend of mine from ISO8A reached out saying that he took his Ronin up to rank 3 and he's absolutely loving it. Towards the end of the video we're going to be watching at a linked thing war boss solo as well, but first, before that, we're gonna go through entire path of Cavalier level difficulty quest and gonna check how Ronin is doing there and how quick of a work he can do against the entire Cavalier lane. And obviously Ronin is also benefiting quite heavily from the attack boosts that skill champions get, even though the bleed duration is reduced by 50%, but those furies do make many skill champions hit a lot harder. And Ronin is in fact a quite good compatible skill champion to be used in Cavalier level difficulty quest because he does spam those bleeds extremely frequently and extremely easily. So that void fight didn't take any time at all. We're going to be moving into the next fight. So once again up against Namor, this time with class disadvantage, but Ronin still should be able to put in quite solid amount of work. And when it comes to my personal kind of like opinion of Ronin, I have always liked him a lot. I loved his animations and I like the way he is to be played. I haven't looked at him too seriously as a potential rank up candidate, but skill class with a lack of like real dominant champions, I think Ronin overall is starting to look somewhat better than he used to, just because yes, he might not be like the flat out of the box most dominant champion, but he does have interesting playstyle and he does have fair amount of utility, like his ability to parry projectiles in certain stance and decent amount of bleeds and definitely enjoyable playstyle. I think at this point, if I had a duped Ronin, I would possibly consider taking him up as well. He's definitely a character that's fairly peculiar and not as kind of like straightforward to play. And I often enjoy champions like that. Not to mention those animations, man. Those animations do look quite cool, but obviously that's not how we value champions. We value champions based on the content that you can do with them and how well do they do the specific fights that they're meant to be good at. And I think Ronin is another one of those champions that has been pushed aside in the shadow and can definitely surprise plenty of people with how actually viable he is. Now there I had to cut out a little bit of a fight just because there was a personal notification pop up. In addition to all of that, please don't mind the quality of this video because it was sent to me over line, so it cannot retain the best possible video quality, but it still should demonstrate the point fairly well. And yeah, so Ronin is blitzing through this Cavalier difficulty quest. And we're going to have the boss fight against Immortal Hulk. And then again, as I mentioned, we're going to be checking him out in Alliance War against the Thing boss, because he is in fact quite a good Thing counter. Primarily because of his playstyle, how many bleeds he can put up. And obviously there we had some very big numbers there from that level 2. That level 2 can dish out a decent amount of punishment, definitely, and then place a bunch of bleeds on opponent. As the video is moving forward, I definitely want to mention the new merch store that has been opened for the channel. And actually today I uploaded 4 new designs, so there's a ton more of different designs available and different products that you should definitely check it out. There is a link for UK and Europe and India, and there is a link for America and Asia. So regardless of where you are in the world, there should be shipment options available for you pretty much. And yeah, I am personally very excited about launching the merch store and obviously all the other cool things that are happening on the channel. We hit the 30k milestone. We're not stopping. We're pushing on to the next ones. 31k, we're going back in abyss. So if you haven't subscribed, subscribe, join the Discord, join the Facebook group, join the Twitter, join the line rooms. There's a lot of things to do on the channel, and we're trying to build a community of summoners who enjoy hanging out and discussing the game. But now back to Ronin. So we have an Anihilus fight left, and then we're going to move on to the final boss. Now Anihilus is always a tricky opponent to go up against, pretty much regardless who you use, maybe with the exception of Quake. But other than that, things can go badly very quickly when you use Anihilus. And now it's going to be interesting to see how Ronin tackles this challenge. And another thing obviously to mention, that Ronin is quite suicide friendly champion because he can shrug off those bleeds and poisons extremely quickly as well within first couple of combos in the fight, so you don't have to take like a full damage from running him with Suicide Masteries, which obviously quite significantly helps his appeal, especially for me, because I do personally enjoy running Suicide Masteries, and any champion that handles them well gets kind of like an extra asterisk put next to their name, because it just makes things easier. And yeah, so right now Ronin is hitting his stride here. We can see that he's getting some fury buffs and he's hitting harder and harder. 1 level 2, and is that going to be it? 25k crit there, and the bleed should pretty much finish out the work. So this stacked Anihilus in Cavalier level difficulty quest down in 30 hits, and that is pretty much as good as any champion will do. Now Ronin might not be the easiest champion to use or play, but he seems to be hanging in there with pretty much the best of the skill class, and especially in Cavalier level difficulty quest. And now the Immortal Hulk fight. Now Immortal Hulk is actually quite good matchup for Ronin, because one of the bigger weaknesses that Immortal Hulk has, it's damage over time effects, because that doesn't fuel his gamma radiation, and the more damage you deal with bleeds, the easier it is to kind of like finish him off afterwards, should he happen to trigger immortality. But Ronin also has access to Disorient debuff, and he can lower opponents' ability accuracy with his special one as well in one of the stances. So there is a very decent chance that we will not even see Hulk regenerate at all, and that would be extremely helpful in this matchup, quite obviously, because if you shut down that immortality, then the Hulk isn't all that bad to deal with. A very simple to dex special one. So he has built himself up to a level 3 here. In this fight, he's not getting any benefit from like the skill global, so any damage you see here is actual Ronin's damage. He's not getting any artificial fury buffs, nothing of the sort. It's just his pure own damage, right? And Hulk refused to throw that level 1 there for a while. I believe he's gonna retrigger the precision buff, go straight into level 3 to get that quite substantial fury buff that definitely does increase Ronin's damage output quite significantly for the longer fights. And the clever bit there was that he retriggered the precision just before he threw and spent those cruelties up. So now he has a big fury, big precision, he's building up his cruelties, and his damage just basically goes up and up and up. And we can see nice 11k mediums, very high crit chance, high amount of bleeds as well, 8k light attacks, and that Gladiator Hulk is pretty much melting away. That was a 14k medium there without any problems. That Fury lasts quite a long time. And let's see, will he regen? No regen, no immortality. Ability accuracy gets bypassed with one of Ronin's stances, and the job's a good one. Now the final fight of the clip is going to be Thing. Ronin actually fares quite well in bleed immune matchups as well, which is another thing I do like about Ronin, is because every time a bleed would trigger, but if opponent is immune to it, you gain a cruelty stack. So in all of bleed immune matchups, your damage ramp up to cruelties to dealing that maximum amount of damage Ronin can do is significantly shorter. You don't have to change the stances, and you can just gain those cruelties so much quicker than you otherwise would. Not to mention that frequently inflicting bleed debuffs basically lets you kind of ignore the Thing's rock stacks, or at least if not ignore, then we can see that 30 hits in the fight, Thing hasn't yet actually gotten up to 15 rock stacks, so he doesn't have too much to worry about. Now this fight does have brute force and limber from the mini boss. He's taking this fight linked, that's why the Thing looks so stacked. But Ronin is definitely doing a very, very decent job. So slightly over a minute in, he has taken down 40% of Thing's health or thereabouts, and he just carries plowing on. And another good thing is, in this case, obviously the Thing is unduped, so there's no real danger of protection. But even if Thing would be duped, Ronin's attacks aren't quite that reliant on having very big yellow numbers, very high crits. It's just like medium level yellow numbers that do appear a lot. So I do believe that Ronin can quite easily get under that thing's protection window and have very stable damage output in these fights. And it's definitely pleasant to see Ronin being used against Thing Boss in Alliance War and doing extremely great, taking the Thing Boss linked. But that will also be pretty much for today's video. I will hope that you guys have enjoyed today's video. I know I did. I know I kind of got an urge to play with my rank 4 Ronin a bit more straight up after watching this, perhaps eventually take him up as well. And yeah, hit that like button, hit that sub button, hit all the buttons, check out the video description, check out the merch store and all the other cool things that are happening on the channel. And that will be me done for today, and I'm gonna catch you guys soon. See ya. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about